I recall the golden era of news broadcasting. I remember as a kid sitting with my family watching the news broadcast, and that was our window to the world. Whatever came to the screen is what we saw as the real world. Today, there are so many screens, there are so many sources of information. We really have difficulty believing in everything we see. So it's important for us, with this multitude of screens and sources, to bring back to society the trust we used to have in the news sources. It's clear that a healthy democracy requires healthy journalism. Yet, in the current climate of fake news and polarized political events, people around the world are having a tough time relying on the mass media. Advances in computer graphics and machine learning have led to the general availability of easy-to-use tools for modifying and synthesizing media, and that threatens to cast a doubt on the veracity of all media. At what point do we question everything we see and hear? Innovation is centered on our ability to see the world differently, breaking perceived boundaries and looking between the lines to solve some of the world's toughest challenges. Since its inception, media manipulation has come in many forms, the most dangerous, seamlessly tiptoeing the line between fact and fiction. Sometimes even videos and images that have been just slightly cut and manipulation can modify the meaning of what you're trying to say. With the evolution of AI, we're going beyond just simply cutting and pasting. With deepfakes, we can create videos and images that really mimic the likeness of a person, and that can have very harmful effects. Today, creating deepfakes doesn't require Hollywood-level resources anymore. Thanks to the widespread and easily accessible AI technology, anybody can create really convincing deepfakes. So convincing that no person, or not even AI technology itself, can detect if the media is a fake. All this begs the question, as citizens, how can we be sure of the authenticity that we're seeing? Can we trust our eyes and ears? In principle, the answer is no. In the long term, detecting deepfakes will not work because of the increased sophistication and ease of use of the AI tools. So, what can we do if we can't detect the deepfakes? We believe the long-term answer relies on authenticating the source of media. We need to establish a chain of trust from the publisher to the consumer. Securing provenance is a complex endeavor and requires buy-in from many organizations. To address that, we're forming a coalition of many institutions, including the BBC, the CBC Radio Canada, the New York Times, and Microsoft. We call this coalition Project Origin. The technical layer of Project Origin is a process of authentication that links the media to its publisher. Then, if there's any modification, any change in that media in the distribution process, we alert the user that that media has been tampered with. In short, we're building a chain of provenance. Now, just to be clear, Project Origin is not about establishing the trustworthiness of a piece of media. We just established the publisher. In doing so, we hope to rekindle the user's trust that the content they are consuming is directly linked to a known source. Ultimately, it's up to the viewer to decide if the source itself is trustworthy or not. A challenge like this requires collaboration and commitment to an open standard approach. Our hope is that this standard will be used by large and small news organizations. To solve the media provenance problem requires multidisciplinary teams. We need expertise from technologies in media processing, security, as well as understanding of the publishing processes of news. Let's imagine I'm a news producer and I'm ready to push the publish button. As part of the publication process, the new tools will create a digital fingerprint that gets stored in a cloud service. In return, I receive a certification of authenticity, which then gets stored in a distributed ledger. The advantage of a distributed ledger is that you have multiple servers spread across companies. That means there is no single controlling entity. Instead, you have a federation of entities. Much like a blockchain, the databases are cryptographically secure. Another important aspect is the user experience. We need to develop good user interfaces so that users feel comfortable in knowing the source of the media they're seeing. It can take a while for users to get comfortable with new interfaces. What we hope to see in the future is that all publishers will use a verification system like the one we're designing that will allow people to trust their chosen media sources. A significant first step towards rebuilding trust is the establishment of a formal industry standard for media provenance. The goal of Project Origin is establishing an open standard for media provenance and its widespread adoption. We look forward to working with others to establish this new standard. There's no one company that can solve this problem on their own. When it comes to our news and media, trust is essential in safeguarding our freedom and democracy. Every step Project Origin takes is a step towards protecting that trust.